Good evening to you all, and welcome to the third Enarion tournament. More nations than ever are taking part tonight. With your hosts, myself and Kyle, we will be bringing you through the fun and the entertainment on offer tonight. So, in no particular order, I will name the nations that will be taking part tonight. Firstly, we have Callendale, the recently united kingdoms of the Western human lands, run and owned by King Godfrey. Aelin, the Elven Kingdom, the original Elven Kingdom. Vetroy Zapad, the Merchant Nation within the north. The Dreki, Promdor, the Collective. Fermanagh and Lothelia. Tonight, we will see them compete in events of great heroic integrity. So I'll pass over to my co-host Kyle to discuss tonight's events.
Hi then. Today we'll be doing the archery and melee bracket for the tournament. The tournament will be single elimination, and we'll begin with the archery. The archery is set up in the arena right now. As you can see, there's a few obstacles to work with, some platforms, some fire pots. So that should be kind of interesting.
Kyle, is this the standard layout for the archery tournament? Because I remember this from the last tournament.
It is. It is the standard layout. We like to add a bit of so you got some posts to work with, you got some fire pots to set your arrows on fire, and you got some little stands. So if you want to gain some height advantage, that is the play to make.
Now we have watched people upsets, to be honest with you, in the last tournament. I wonder what tonight will hold. With this many nations taking part, we're going to see more talent than I think we've seen in a long time. There's a lot of heated conflicts going on at this point in time. The land of Enarion is not peaceful.
Nope, everybody's at war, I'm afraid, or on the brink of war, and I think you're going to see quite interesting lineup. You've got two very good players, not to lower the others, but Rikumaru and Transistor, they're some of the best archers in the server. You're going to see Rikumaru coming up first in a minute, and I tell you, he's a crack shot. He won't miss.
Now, I had a question. So, the gear that they are using, is that standardized?
That's correct, yep. They're all using leather and regular bows, normal arrows.
Regular bows, okay.
That's correct, regular bows.
So, do you reckon, who's your favorite out of those two, Rekumaru and Transistor? Do you think one of them will take the win?
I think Rikumaru will take the win, but I gotta rep my boy Harrison,
I think we all have to rep Harrison. I think, a man who is well known with a bow, chased by him many times before.
Daunting, scary.
It is. And he seems to know the layout very well by now. And I think anybody who's participated in the tournament before, because Harrison's a returning participant, a returning player. So I mean, it's one of those things that I think that knowledge of the layout of the land will put him in pole position for tonight's tournament for the archery.
Yeah, I mean, but then you have the returning champion Rikumaru.
Perhaps, but in my mind, if Harrison's been smart, he's gone away, did the training, and gotten better since last time.
I don't think he has. I don't think he has.
Oh, well, we can only see, Kyle. We can only see. So, as far as I'm aware, we are going to be joined by another host later on tonight, depending on certain circumstances.
Yep.
And yeah, it's a favorite of the crowd, Mr. Alti himself. So, we got
possibly
as well. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. So, the archery is going to happen first. Then we're going to have the melee, and then the skirmish. So the skirmish is the one that everybody looks forward to. Now, in my mind, the last time we did the skirmish in the last tournament, we had an all-out brawl between much less nations. Do you think there's going to be much difference tonight?
So, the Skirmish of Steel, which you're referring to, is not going to be nation represented this time. Players are going to pick a status and choose their own team.
Wow.
Yep.
That is a change.
Yep. Another change is the joust is gone from the tournament this time. Just because we found that people tended to like the melee and the archery a lot more, and the joust was not really a fan favorite, I'm afraid.
I mean, it's a shame because I think the training academies in at least Callendale have been pumping out some of the best jousters in the land, and as far as I'm aware, the other nations haven't kept up, unfortunately. So it's a shame to see it go. I wonder if the academy will stay open.
I don't know. One can only hope.
Perhaps we'll see them in other tournaments. Perhaps we'll see them in, the melee or the archery. Maybe they'll turn their hand to something else. We don't know. But do you feel like there is an air of upset in the air tonight, DPM? What's your thoughts? How are you feeling about all this?
I think the melee is quite interesting. I think there's potential for an upset in the melee. Yeah. And I think we're getting into it in a minute.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I can see them all getting ready. Yeah, all their fancy dancy armor on, getting ready to start the day. Yeah, it's an interesting sight.
So our two opponents for the first round of the archery is Riku Maru. He is representing Callendale, and the second one is Cookie. He is representing the Dreki Sea Raiders.
Wow.
So I think we're just waiting for them to be ready.
I remember watching Rikumaru last tournament, and I was a little bit blown away. Now, from somebody who I was told was very good, but have never seen with my own eyes, they were unbelievable. Actually, wiped the floor with everybody else in the tournament. Now, how do you think Mr. Koeki, in his mind, he's thinking at this moment? He's going up against the reigning champion. What do you think he's thinking right now?
Well, I think he's thinking that he's about to begin, and they're getting into it. Riku is doing his typical. He's moving around the map. He's pinging Cookie, giving absolute no chance to gain cover, and he's just pinning him in the corner.
There is a quite an understanding of the course from Mikumaru. It's quite, you can almost sense that Cookie is just that little bit less.
Yeah, definitely. And Riku is dominating the field. He is, full control of it, and he's edging forward. He's going aggressive, and Cookie's trying to eat.
Oh well, it might be that Cookie gets eaten. Realistically, this would be not an upset, but that's it. That's it all over. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that was. As things go, very predictable.
And unfortunately, Kyle, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Yep, the cookie does crumble. And Riku wins the first round of the archery tournament. Do you have any thoughts on that, Harold? What we just witnessed?
Well, I think we just witnessed the next grand champion, Enrico Maru. But I could be wrong, and I'm not a biased man.
We still got to see Harrison.
He lost the last time. He's up against somebody who's just as good as they were before. You told me, from your own mouth, you said that you didn't think he had improved. So,
but if there's an upset, you said you have a feeling in the air it will come from Harrison in this tournament.
It's possible. It's possible. But all bets are off, I guess. From me, I still don't know. I don't think I am in a position to make that decision. But from what I just saw there, absolutely annihilated the poor man.
Most definitely. And the next round of the archery bracket will be the nations Fermanagh and Promdor.
Now,
Um,
two relatively new newcomers to the table for Mana and Promdor. Interested to see who they could field.
I believe Demick, which is also a really good archer, he's just entered the arena, and Line
They look
Files,
like Iron Files, yeah.
the nation leader.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, wow, yeah. You know, I remember the nation leader for another nation getting involved at one point. I don't think it's happened again since then. The nation leader of Ordheim.
Oh yeah. He was a rather strapping fellow.
It was a shame what happened at Ordheim after that tournament.
Yeah, we don't talk about that, Harold. We don't talk about that.
Almost a sign of things to come. So I wonder what Lion Files will be able to show tonight. Hopefully he wins.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I favoured the Mick in this situation. I've gone against the Mick. He's a good shot. You know, I've not really fought Line Files. Oh, and we're beginning. Here we begin.
As somebody in the chat has just put, we are about to witness a war crime. Unsure whether that'll happen, but I would be surprised.
We'll see, because it looks like a decent trade right now as the Mick moves up to the centre. He's weaving. Line Files is getting pegged. And they're falling back. The Mick is applying a lot of pressure right now.
I'm looking at Lion Files. I don't think Demix brought the sauce tonight.
Well, Harold, I would say you were sorely mistaken on that.
I was watching Lion Files too much. I didn't notice what Demix was doing. They both look like pin cushions to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I would say as a fight goes, that's about as fair as we're going to get it.
No use of the actual arena, though, Kyle.
No, a lot of people are just opting to go at it quite aggressively. They're not using the stands. We saw Riku was using the stands. He was using the posts.
And I think that might be the secret.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to learn anything from this tournament, it's going to be from Riku. And up next, the Archery, we have the nations of Aelin and the Collective. So those are quite interesting teams. The Collective obviously being the main Dwarven nation in the server.
Yes, the Collective, Dwarves and Friends, as I like to call it.
Dwarves and Friends, yeah, that's definitely the motto. So, yes, this is the Dwarven player stepping forwards. And I believe GGT will be representing the elves, which is interesting. This is a human.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I would also mention, for anybody who's watching, that unfortunately GGT Textera, who is an old friend of mine, recently changed his username to something I will not discuss, and that is a friend of GGT. So if the performance isn't as good as you suspect or expect, then please be aware that that is not GGT himself.
Oh, so we're not actually seeing GGT fight?
No.
Really?
Yes.
So who is this mystery man?
This mystery man is a friend of GGT who I've spoken to on countless occasions. He's a friend of mine. A very nice man who is happily keeping the name for him at the moment.
I see, okay.
Yeah. Lots of funny conversations to be had when you run with the name GGT Textera.
Yeah, here I was thinking we were seeing the legend himself, but
no.
I've
It
been
seems
fooled.
that the legend himself has put his sword on the wall and is enjoying a life of roleplay.
Well, we're just waiting. I think the mystery man GGT has just lost control. I'm not entirely sure what's going on right now. He's been pulled out of the arena. So...
And he's gone.
Yeah, absolute pandemonium.
Pandemonium. I wonder if that'll be a disqualification.
I hope not. He's edging up, and he just he can't be stopped. I'm afraid he can't be
This
stopped.
it's not great. I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you.
I'm hoping the tournament organizers can figure out what's going on here. Maybe it's miscommunication. I think I'm not entirely sure what's going on.
No, me neither. Very interesting. I think.
Oh, I think we are experiencing a bit of a mix-up. GDT,
Oh.
the player, is it was the wrong GGT we put in the arena, I believe.
What?
Yeah.
Gosh.
So we're just having to wait for that for a second.
Things will sort themselves out. But lots on the line tonight. As far as I'm aware.
Oh, and it's beginning. I believe we're seeing a substitute. So
Incredible.
Blue Sensei is representing the elves. He's a well-known elf player, so...
At least we have an elf.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, you see, my friend Cordol is utilizing the barriers and the stands. But yeah, and coming back. Good.
Okay, so Blue's taking quite a risk. He's out in the open, but he's pushing up. He's got Cordo in a little bit of a combo. Oh wow, this is amazing.
That is unbelievable.
We might have just found Riku's challenger for the tournament right now.
The use of the actual arena is quite something actually by Sensei.
I must agree, and we're seeing a little bit of a standstill. I mean,
I think
Blue
Cordo
gained an
doesn't know what to
advantage,
do.
but he's not pushing it. I don't know if that's the right play to make here.
Running away. It looks
like a headless chicken. And he's won. I can't believe it. Blue Sensei, he blundered. That's the only thing I can say.
Got caught out at the wrong place. Wow. Cordell had it in the bag all along. Who are we to judge? It's incredible.
Well, you know what they say, Harold. You never corner a rat.
Wow. Don't think I would have called them a rat, but anyway. Realistically, I'm glad that we came to a conclusion on that round. If Cordell could pick Blue Sensei up, that would be great. Excellent. There's an air in the crowd tonight. I can feel it. There's an air of absolute chaos. They want blood.
Well, Harold, I think you're going to be well delighted to find out who is joining us this evening.
And who is joining us?
Mr. H.
Oh, it's my good friend Dane.
It's my good friend Mr. H and little man Kyle.
Well,
I said, delighted. I'm not as delighted as you can tell.
I'm buzzing to be here. I'm absolutely shaking with excitement. I can't believe it.
Well, welcome to the team. Welcome to the family. I would quite like all the three of us to just continue, to be honest with you. I'm quite enjoying myself.
I'm a little bit intimidated.
Oh, here we go. Here becomes Harrison.
Boys.
Harrison is beginning.
Oh, Harrison's coming.
And he's opened up with a nice shot. A second shot in a row. A third shot. I mean, this is just typical of Harrison.
You said he hadn't been training. He hadn't been doing the research. He hadn't been. But look at this, Kyle. Look at this.
Nah, it's all natural from Harrison. He's insane.
He really is, and he's pushing up on Ryosaur, and he's got a jumping shot, and I think the end is, and that's it. That is the end. I was going to say the end is nigh, but
I heard that Harrison had recently bought a pair of sweatbands for the amount of clicking that he actually does. Now I don't know whether this is true or not, but if that's the truth, then what a man! Because
he's just a natural-born gamer. You see, it's all in his blood.
When you have those sweatbands on, you cannot lose.
Yeah, there comes Harrison off with a W, and we'll find out that Vetroy Zapad has gone through to the second round, and we're looking at the victory for the first round is Callendale. Callendale won the first round.
Excellent.
We also see, I believe, if I'm correct, Promdor won. Yeah, that's correct. DMIC beat Line Files, and Aelin beat the Collective, and now it's for Troy. So
you've
done
been
it right.
you've been listening in, Dane. What do you think? Who's your favorite for the archery?
The archery. Well, it's definitely between Ricamaro and Harrison. That's definitely a duo I can't wait to see. Little matchup. Will Harrison get his revenge from last time?
I hope so.
I'm not too sure. That was utterly incredible what he just pulled off. And if that's a thing to see to come, then the fight will be quite intense.
Well, we're about to see Callendale and Promdor match up, and Promdor is actually a vassal of Callendale, so we'll see if they beat their overlords in this tournament. But Callendale has been represented by Rikimaru, so that's going to be an interesting lineup. Dimik versus Rikimaru. I know they're both good friends. They're both good players, but can you really beat Riku in his prime?
Watching Dimik last time, will they utilize the actual arena to the best of their ability? Is a question to be asked, I think.
Well, it's begin, and both missed a shot. That's uncanny of both of them, and we're just saying nothing's hitting. And a trade. Riku is moving up. He's taking a few hits. Dimik's using the fire pot. That could have gone very badly for him. And he's weaving his way into the corner, and right now Riku's got him in a... It's not looking good, Harold.
No, unfortunately not. But perhaps an outcome that we expected. But I've been wrong before, and I've been wrong on many things. Wow.
I can't believe Ricamaro right now. He's missing all these shots.
And that's all she wrote. Dimik is down, Rikimaru is won. So that's quite interesting. Riku was missing quite a few shots. I wonder if Harrison will be able to...
we watched Harrison absolutely destroy his opponent in the last round. Now, will that missing of shots harm Rikumaru's chances of a second victory? I'll be honest with you, I think Harrison might be in for a shot, to be honest with you, from what I've seen so far.
I'm starting to favour Harrison too, Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed by what Harrison has to offer, and I think he's up next. That will be the nations of the Troy versus Aelin, so that's going to be interesting. We're going to see... Oh no, I think I'm wrong in that. I think it's the Collective. Yeah, it's the Collective. Remember the upset? It was Cordal that beat Blue Sensei in that.
Yeah, it was.
So we're going to see Harrison versus Cordal in the Troy Zapad versus Collective, and that's going to be quite interesting to see.
I don't have high hopes, but I do have hopes. Perhaps Cordal can pull it out of the bag.
He's got no chance. Let's be honest.
Maybe he's invested in some sweatbands as well.
Well, I think whilst Harrison may pull it off, I think we'll see a good fight, and it looks like good camaraderie between them, good sportsmanship. It looks like they're both ready to go against each other. Just waiting for the countdown to begin. It's beginning. Let's see what Cordal can pull off, the underdog of the fight. He's hit Harrison twice now. And that's gonna set the pace for the fight. and Harrison's missing shots. I don't know where to begin.
Cordall has become the post.
And he's moving up to the stand. He's taking point, and it looks like he's got Harrison on the ropes.
The
Harrison
invisible
disappointed me.
man. Harrison doesn't know what to do. Wow. He's just baiting him.
Well, we'll see, because Cordell's now been pinged, and he's caught out in the open, and Harrison has the high ground.
Harrison pushing his advantage.
And this is it. We're going to see the aggression from Harrison come out in full play. He's pinged Cordell. Will he be punished for this or rewarded?
Oh my god!
And
Inhuman reactions
wow.
by Hazard!
And he's shown off. He's doing 360s. Maybe he was trying to show off there from the beginning. After all,
That must be the first 360 in a tournament I've ever seen.
yeah, most definitely.
I'm sweating from that. Fuck. Oh god.
I don't know what to say. Harrison is just showing that even on the back foot from the first, 2-3 shots, he pulled it out the bag.
Yeah. And that's the second round of the archery, and I think we're going to see it. We're going to see the Harrison Rikimaru semi-final.
Incredible. Gosh.
Yeah.
Who thought?
Oh, final actually. Not a semi-final. We're going to see Rikimaru versus Harrison, which is a throwback to the old tournament. If you remember, it came down between them.
This is the one we all wanted to see.
Yes.
I think this is the one a lot of people came to see. The two titans going up against each other again, meeting in the arena.
Yep, and we have Riku entering the arena now. Let's hope Harrison has not underestimated his opponent, likewise to Riku. And as the announcer begins, I think we're about to see the countdown. The countdown begins. Both are ice cold. A shot has been made. Harrison wedging up around the left, and Riku is still out in the open, and he's caught. I think that's a trade for both of them. Now, this is how this arena is meant to be played, Harold.
Yes, I was just about to say that. It's amazing the amount of arena usage when you get down to the semi-finals, the finals. It's almost like it's a factor in finding the win.
But he's made a mistake. He's wedged forward. He's been hit 3 times now. Riku's got him on the ropes. Oh, look at it. He's playing with him. He's playing with him. That is foul play, Harrison.
This is an absolute shambles by Harrison.
And he's baited him out. And now Riku is caught out in the open, and he's going insane. Can Harrison pull it off?
What an upset if he does. There are some mind games going on here. Mind games that me and you and Dane probably don't understand.
I can't comprehend it, Mr. Hazard. Mr. H, rather. My bad.
I don't mind Mr. Hazard. I'm happy with that.
No, that's reserved for Harrison.
Oh.
I can't believe it. Is Riku going to fall here? This would be an insane upset.
This is a fight to remember.
Harrison's coach. Oh my
wow.
god. What an absolute
I
travesty.
think that was incredibly close. Now, I don't know how close that was, but it looked absolutely to the wire.
Very much so, and I mean, I don't think anybody's surprised by that outcome, but I think we were all hoping for a little bit of an upset. You know, everyone loves an underdog.
So Callendale take the trophy home yet again. Will the other nations find someone who can defeat Rikumaru?
Well, that's going to have to come in the next tournament, Harold. I'm afraid Riku's taking the trophy home for Callendale.
You
in
know,
the archery bracket.
I saw Rikumaru take the trophy in today. It was all dusty, like it hadn't been looked at. You know, that's going back to the dusty place yet again. You know, hidden away from life, from the world, and then come back again next time to see off the other the other champion. It's quite an amazing thing.
Yeah, I mean, Riku is going to go on to be the two-time champion of the archery bracket, and I mean, anyone say they're surprised, but we're next going to see the tournament progress into the 5v5 melee, which I think is probably the most sought-after event in the tournament.
I don't know about that. I enjoy the archery. I find it incredibly personal. I don't find the melee as personal, but I find it a lot more entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, something we're going to see different from the previous one. The melee is going to have absolutely zero bows this time, so it will just be melee, and we'll have to see what people come up with.
Now, I will say that there are some strategy that you can use for the melee. It's not just a get in there and fight each other. Obviously, you know, tag teaming, double manning, things like these. You know, focusing on their leader. That's also another great one to use. Who do you think will come out on top tonight?
Well, Harold, there's a lot of teams, a lot of good teams. If I have to put my bets, you know, I'd have to put it on Callendale. Callendale seems to have a lot of good melee fighters. And as we know, Callendale just came off a major victory. So, you know, competitively speaking, they're providing some of the best PvPers. Riku just won the archery for them, so I think Callendale's going to take it personally. What do you think?
I think that Callendale have a lot to prove tonight. It's a difficult position to be in, you know, being the newly formed collective united kingdom under King Godfrey. God rest him. God bless him. He will find the best people he can to put on this field, but so will the other nations. As we said before, there has been strife, there's been war, there has been untold conflict between the nations, and I think everybody sees this tournament as a way of getting one up on their enemies without repercussion.
Yeah, I think we're set to see some rivalries sort out in this arena. And we have two very two interesting brawls going on between the Vlakians. They're known for being mischievous, and they've been removed from the arena. So, to run down the melee bracket, obviously it looks a little strange, as it is uneven. Callendale and Dreckie are both putting forward two teams. So the second Callendale and the second Dreckie team will be going against each other first. And the winner of the Dreckie and Callendale second team will go against Promdor. And we got some
just another fight between
interesting people making themselves known right now.
Incredible.
See if I can look that up.
What are the big names that are competing tonight? Do you know any, Kyle?
Well, Peaky Don Murfield, if he shows his face, he's most definitely one of the better PvPers of the tournament. We're going to see Charlemagne. Charlemagne's also a really good PvPer. Akam is a well-known dwarf PvPer. I think he goes by the name Rip Caillou now. He's quite good. He's quite a strong player. But for the rest, I'm not too clued in the teams. But I know that those three players will be competing. I'll be looking out for them today. What do you think?
I think we'll see a whole host of past participants, people of note. Will we see an upset? Will we see a team come along, one of these 2 second teams, Drekkie, Callendale? Will we see a second team come forward into the first tier and absolutely decimate? That's my question.
Well, I don't think it's a question I can answer, but what I can tell you is the Callendale 2 team has been set up right now. You've got Mamluk, Tudix, Ninja Climb, Wolfdog, and Murfield. What do you think about that lineup, Dane?
That is a solid lineup. They performed really well in the recent war claim, especially Wolfdog and PK Don.
Yeah, Peaky Dawn, that's Murfield. And I believe they're taken to the arena right now. We're just waiting for the second team to be set up. And the second team is Pro PvP 2011, a new player. I've not seen his name before, but he looks very fierce. We got Offline Zero, Aiden 1011, and that's all I can seem to spot right now.
Some very noticeable names on the field already, though. Ninja Climb, Mamluk, Wolfdog, Muirfield. These are the guys you want to watch. These are the guys that are going to do the damage.
Yeah, they're well known for fighting together, so the team cohesion, there'll be a lot of chemistry here. They'll be able to play off each other pretty well. And if you know, Harold, they only get to pick one weapon, so in the melee you get a choice between a sword, a warhammer, polearm, or an axe. And it looks,
Interesting that the whole of this side, this team has decided on axes.
yeah, that is quite interesting. But you know, if you go for an axe, you lose the offhand, so it's a bit of a trade. Do you want that extra defense, or do you want that extra attack? And I think them going for the axe is quite indicative of their playstyle. They're aggressive. They're going to come out swinging. I think they're just going to go charging in and try find 1v1s in this arena.
Do you not think that gives too much away to the enemy? That your whole team has gone for axes?
I think it does, but I think these are confident players, you know, and they're capable. So, you know, in a way, that is also a strength.
Very possible. What do you think, Dave?
Well, the team with the calendar, they know what they're doing. They've recently fought a war together. They're very, very good team players. Yeah, the enemy team have a lot to look out for with these guys.
And I believe we might have just received word that the Drekkie number 2 team may be fighting 2 men down.
Now that would be an upset.
Indeed. I'm just trying to receive information about that real quick.
You know, not able to field men for your nation, even if a second team, is a shame.
Yes.
You know, that doesn't reflect well on your nation, in my
It's a
opinion.
shambles, let's be honest.
Well, you know, Dane, he's not one for putting it lightly. Oh. I think they're just preparing themselves to take the field. Still waiting for more information on that front.
I really am looking forward to the skirmish. I think that new bracket, that new idea that's been had about choosing teams, will be quite an interesting thing.
Yeah, well, you know, the tournament is starting to shift more away from nations now. As we progress into our third nation, our third tournament. The fourth tournament will be held on the 5th AC, so that's 15 weeks from now, 15 years in roleplay. And I think we're going to see a lot more kind of individual teams showing their face. So nation representation might become a thing of the past. What do you think about that, Harold?
I'm not. I think the roots of the tournament around nations, around the ability for nations to show their might, their strength through archery, jousting, melee, skirmish. I think that was definitely something that people could be proud of, and give you some sort of national feeling other than having a war. Um, so the change to just group based combat is perhaps an interesting one. I'm not entirely against it, but I'd like to see how it works out. But what I would say is, what would be the option of having two tournaments, one for nations and one for groups?
Yeah, I mean, what I can say is we'll probably find ourselves in a situation where both nations and separate teams can put themselves forward. So you'll have the ability to have your nation represented or to have your group represented.
Do you not put yourself into an interesting position when your nation asks you to fight, but you decide to fight for your friends?
Well, I'm sure you'll find that most groups fight under nations, so... and I think we're actually going to see a 5-man team, which is interesting. We've
Wow.
been told otherwise, but they've managed to field their 2 extra players. And if you notice something interesting, Harold, the other opposing team have gone for the more defensive approach, swords, sword breakers, and one has even brought a shield.
Now, my PvP, my melee knowledge is good, but it's not to the level of the two other titans of PvP in this channel with me, Mr. Kyle and Mr. Dane himself. What do you think will be the outcome of this? Do you think that the defensive will win, or do you think that the offensive will take the day?
Defensive, definitely. 100%. They're just going to bum rush and probably take them out relatively quickly.
Yeah, I think the offense is going to be the strongest thing here. These are 5 good players. They're 5 confident, and they can beat their opponent relatively easily if they work together. But the defensive players here in Dreki, second team, they have good chance here, and it's about to begin.
Here we go.
And you see them moving together as a team. This is what I was saying. If they stick together,
The Dreki team look all over the place.
and it looks like a disaster. My man Luke is finding himself pinned. He's going to see himself going down, and I don't know what's going on. Is the Calderdale team too going to find themselves?
Is this an upset? It's looking to be an upset.
This might be an upset.
I think there's an error. I think there's an error here. I think we're having an error. Some people were not able to damage.
Now, it was said that Muirfield's mother was attacking him. Therefore, his output of PvP was not going to be the best.
I do think this was an error on the tournament's behalf. Some people were not allowed to hit each other. So, yeah, I think we're going to see a redo of this most likely. That's quite interesting. I thought we were about to see the Callendale team too going down to the Dreki team too. That would have been quite the upset.
Now, Muirfield has said that the axes have no damage values. Now, that might be an issue.
Ah, I see.
So, a swing and a miss, unfortunately. But a nice warm-up for these two teams.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, I suppose we're going to see Rumple quickly remediate that. And we'll see them go back at it again.
Now, there is somebody in the arena saying that we are all Vetroy supporters. Now, I would like to state that I am a proud Callendale man in Roleplay. Realistically, as far as I'm aware, neither of you two are Vetroy supporters or Vetroy livers or part of that nation. So, yeah, we aren't. We are as unbiased as we can be. Unfortunately, there has been a glitch, but we will see what happens.
Yeah. I'm hoping to see that it's been resolved.
Now, Flemish
Obvious-
Supremacy, a well-known player, has said that it's perhaps something that the offensive team brought rubber axes, unfortunately, as a joke.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, these weapons have been supplied by the tournament, so you know the tournament's obviously been at fault here. I think.
I still think Mirfield's mother attacking him had something to do with it.
Well, that most definitely had a part to play. You know, Peaky Dawn is a young boy. You know, he's a rising star, so you know perhaps he's neglecting his homework in this period.
Why his mother's angry at him?
Now, I have had confirmation from Mirfield that his mother had stopped attacking him.
Oh, that's good to hear. I heard she's a very nice lady, actually.
That's all we'll say on that matter. And I think we're about to see them go back at it. Okay, they're ready. And we're just waiting for the countdown to begin. If it will begin. The Caldale 2 team are ready. And I think... yes, I think the Jarecki team 2 are just receiving the last little setup from Communist.
Now, there's rumours in the chat that PK Don's mum is on the other team. I'm not too sure whether they're true or not. Carl, can you confirm?
I cannot confirm, actually. But that would be quite... Well, that'd be quite the tale. And the countdown begins, so we're going to see if, you know, the clock will strike twice. And it looks like Peaky Dawn is taking on a 1v2 and they're being isolated.
PK Don.
Unfortunately, I mean, that's all she wrote. The Drecki team 2 have found themselves completely wiped out. Not a single man down on the Caldale 2 team, so... Yeah, what do you think about that, Harold?
Interesting, to say the least. As you said, the offensive weapons have taken the day. Will be interesting to see how the other teams go about it themselves. I mean, you know, realistically, the Drecki team knew what they were up against, tried to counter with defensive weapons, but found themselves woefully, unfortunately, lost within the wave of the Caldale fighters.
So with that, we're going to see the Caldale 2 team beat Drecki 2, and they're going to move on to face Probdor now. So we're going to actually see the melee bracket kick itself into full swing. And I believe Probdor's team has been set up. Obviously, Caldale 2 have no need to worry about that. They're all prepared, and I just wonder, Harold, if Probdor's seen this fight and they've decided if Axis are the play as well.
Possibly. I mean, if it was myself, would I be going offensive against offensive? Yes, I would. You fight fire with fire. I don't know. It would be interesting to see what they.
Well,
what they do.
I think that is actually what's going on. The Probdor team is entering the arena, and yeah, they're all using Axis. So
Now, an interesting thing, though, you know, Probdor, Caldale, one subservient to the other as
Yep.
vassal. Do you think that we will see an upset here, or do you think that Caldale will take the day?
I think Caldale have strong fighters. I'm not entirely sure, but I love a good underdog, Harold. So I'm gonna hope that Probdor takes this fight right now. But I'm not sure if, you know, my heart, you know, follows my head right now.
Well, looking at Promdor, we have Flying Rhino, who is known to be pretty decent with the old axe, and Demic, another known man to the tournament, having seen him in the archery. Koeki, another known entity. Could be an interesting fight, but
And the
will
countdown's beginning, and we're going to see two offensive playstyles go against each other. And look at them; they're both moving to team. They're mirroring each other. The Campbell 2 team are moving up the front, and they've clashed. And I think they've got the advantage.
I think Promdor do have the advantage, but will they keep it? I'm not 100% sure. It looks like they've lost it straight away.
No, it looks like Candle 2 team have taken the day.
That was expected. From me, anyway.
Yeah, and we're going to see them pick back up. And yeah, so Candle 2 team, strong showing. They've beaten their opponents in the Drekkie.
Promdor is saying that they essentially won because they got one of the other fighters down, which goes to show, I think, of how the other team, how Promdor think of Callendale. So it could end up that Callendale is probably the best of the bunch, but we have to wait and see.
No, we haven't seen the other teams yet, I'm afraid. We got Vetroy and Collective up next. And that's going to be an interesting lineup. I think we're going to see a fan favourite step into to fight for Vetroy this time. Chuckaboo, I'm sure you've heard of his name.
Yes, the mighty Whirlwind.
The name itself is terrifying to hear. Been some disturbing rumours floating about Chuckaboo, which I can't disclose on the stream, unfortunately.
I was pretty sure I was told he was dead.
We've been told many things about him. All of
The
which...
man, the myth, the legend that is Chuckaboo. The creator of the Chuckaboo Whirlwind.
I think they're stepping forward into the arena now.
Or as some commonly call it, the Chuckaboo Shuffle.
Alright, there we go. We both have Harrison and Chuckaboo in the Vetroy team. That's quite a surprise.
That is a deadly duo, for certain.
There is little hope, I would suggest, but time will tell, as will the fight.
And we can see the trend of using axes as a recurring trend.
Oh, it does look like one of them is utilizing a sword.
Yes, and so is Harrison. So, you know, perhaps not always not the most unfavored weapon to use. And the countdown begins. Let's see if they move together as a team. And he's up at front. He's fighting against Rip Houdini, and they've clashed. And Chuckaboo is straight up the center, and he's been attacked from behind. And it looks like Vetroy have pulled it together.
What I would say,
have I spoke too soon?
You may have spoke too soon.
Wow.
And now it's Harrison in a 1 versus 2. Can he do it? I think he has the potential, but
yeah,
one down.
It's good for Harrison. It's looking good for Harrison.
And he's done it.
Incredible.
A 1 versus
Outstanding.
2 from Harrison.
That is an upset.
That is impeccable.
How does he do it? Natural born gamer.
How can you do that? And the only thing I can think of is his new sweatbands.
It has to be it. It has to be it. I mean, if you want to rely on a person to clutch at 1v2, I would think no better person than Harrison, truthfully.
The unstoppable man, angry from his loss in the archery, come back with a vengeance and another.
Come to redeem himself.
And I think he's done it.
Disappointment from Chuckaboo. He underperformed definitely in that fight.
Well, for someone who was assumed dead and now living again, it is an interesting thing.
Very true.
Perhaps
So
can buy him some armbands.
that sees Vetroy Sapad with a victory over the Collective. It will be for Mana versus Drekkie, Drekkie's main team now. So that'll be quite interesting to see if Drekkie can pull themselves back into this tournament. What do you think about that, Harold?
I think that both teams have the opportunity to go forward here. Realistically, from what we just saw, the Callendale team that looked unstoppable may be up against a rock and a hard place, unfortunately.
Yes, we're going to see, I mean, quite a powerful lineup. And I think we're going to see, I think, if I'm correct, the Vitroy versus Callendale 2 in the upcoming bracket. That's correct. But that's not for now. Right now we have Furman and Dreki upcoming. And the Dreki main team is entered. We got some familiar names. We got Swifty Sam, Kizu Guzzer, Tharask, and Capet. So yeah, this is quite a well-known lineup.
I've seen Kizu fight. He is an excellent PvPer. Interesting lineup to be sure.
Yeah, I think the person to look out for is Tharask. He's quite a monster in PvP, so I think he's the person to look out for on that team.
Now the other team is entered. Lion Files again. Underperformed possibly in the archery, but maybe here to take back some dignity in the melee.
Well, I mean, can there be any better dignity than a leader representing their own team? And I honestly favour Lion Files' team.
Now, there was a story of another nation leader representing their team in the tournament. Do you remember this?
I
Very
do,
short
Harold.
man. I do remember that.
Do you remember it, Dane?
Yes, I do.
And as the round begins, we have the Dreki team moving up. They're caught out of position and they were split up. And we have Furmana's team working together. Great teamwork. And Andy Drew is just coming in from behind. And I think we're about to see. I'm not entirely sure what we're about to see. We have Andy Drew running, and now we have Taxes Are Bad in a 1v2. But you know, 1v2s. And he nearly did it. He nearly brought down one with him, but we have quite an interesting situation on the ground.
Yes. What's that about?
I'm not entirely sure. But obviously Dreki beat Furmana, so Dreki has a second lifeline in this race.
Now, I guess the question is, how fair is it for the Dreki and the Callendale teams to field two teams rather than the others that only field one?
Well, the option was we came down to odd number, and we offered the option for nations to put forward two teams. And yeah, so that's how we came to Dreki and Callendale having two teams. The other nations were given that support, but they chose not to field two teams, so that's why we have this situation.
Perhaps an interesting idea, though, having one team of your best fighters rather than two teams of your fighters spread over two teams.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I think Callendale put a lot of they have good fighters in both teams. I wouldn't say anyone is any better than each other, but I would definitely say that was Dreki's best team by far. And up next we have the nations of Aelin and Callendale. So Callendale's main team is about to show itself, so we're going to see if they perform better than Callendale 2.
Now, an interesting thought runs my mind. Callendale 1, Callendale 2. Who do you think would be given the better bracket? I seem to think it might be Callendale 2. So would you field your better team in Callendale 2 or field your better team in Callendale 1?
Well, the brackets were randomized before the event, before the teams had been organized. So I would definitely say that they're both going in clueless, and they wouldn't be able to have made that decision. But in terms of where they're standing, I think Callendale 2 is the best bracket. We're about to see Charlemagne, Rip Caillou, Riku Maru, the Belido, and the king himself, I believe.
Bertimus, the king himself.
So that's the
Godfrey
second
Tyler
nation
Moore.
leader.
Now, there is a story of a nation leader once fighting in a tournament.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you're correct.
And here we do. The other team is the alien team is on the other side, and they've entered the arena. And I'm going to be honest. I really favour Callendale's main team in this round. I think they got a lot of strong fighters, and I think one player to look out for is Permrag. He's quite unknown, but he's a strong
He's a
fighter.
dark horse, a very dark horse among the lineup.
You know, when you see Charlemagne on a lineup, when you see Rikumaru on a lineup, when you see the king himself stand out and say, I'm here to fight. Interesting time will tell.
And here we begin. Looks like Rikimaru is baiting, and the alien players have worked together. They're fighting together. Permragd is railing on his opponent. He's taken one out. He's moving into the corner to support Riku, and he's finding himself up
Wow.
against. Oh,
That is an upset.
That is indeed.
now that I'm shocked.
I can't.
That's
believe.
an upset.
I'm shocked. We've seen the defeat.
The amount of people they had still left. Now,
That is amazing.
It reminds me of another time that a nation once fielded its nation leader. And
I know exactly what you're talking about,
Oh,
Harold.
do you?
Yes, I do. He was a very
Incredible.
small man.
Oh. You know, and then the nation itself, because of that defeat, it's a very sad tale.
It is indeed.
It crumbled, and like Callendale won, they crumbled, and I've obviously eaten my words. Callendale main team has been put out, and we can only hope
That's
that Callendale 2 can
Quite
cover
amazing.
the day.
I will tell you, it's very likely that the nation leader of Callendale will be ruining the day and very unhappy at that. I mean, if you fielded a team with the likes of Rikumaru, Charlemagne, Permragd, you know, you'd kind of expect to win.
Indeed, I don't know what to say. It's taken me by surprise, but we're going into the second round, so the quarterfinals, and I believe we're going to see Callendale 2 versus Vitroy Sapad. So we're going to see Harrison and Chuckaboo take the field again versus Peaky Dawn and infamous players like Ninja Climb.
Now, Ninja Climb is one to watch. He has
Yes,
fought
Ninja Climb
several-
is a very
several
strong
tournaments.
player.
Several tournaments. It'd be interesting to see how this one ends. Now, I can imagine that this Callendale team is probably in shock just the same as we are at their main team having lost.
Yeah, they may be even feeling the pressure a little bit.
Now, it does look like the Callendale team have changed weapons.
Have they?
They do have a mixture of weapons this time, yes.
All axis?
No.
Oh, Wolfdog is actually using a Warhammer, so that's an interesting choice.
Bit different from last time.
Indeed, yes. And the other team is also fielding some
It's almost like
swords.
It's almost like there's a little bit of cat and mouse going on, you know, changing up the makeup of your team, the makeup of the weapons, and changing up the style of fighting so that they can't understand their enemy before they fight them.
Well, I mean, knowing how strong they've been performing as an offensive team, maybe they wanted to try and catch their opponents off guard. I think we're about to see the the next round begin. I wonder if Callendale's second team are feeling the pressure. You know, they've got a lot to live up to. Callendale's future in the tournament is solely on them right now.
Chuckaboo himself said he's going in with a different strategy this time. He's definitely one to look out for again in this fight.
And we're seeing Callendale 2, they're moving up, well organised. Mamluk straight in the centre, we've got Wolfdog in the flank. And Wolfdog is pulling opponents from the team. But Ninja Climb, he's let himself down, he's found himself isolated, and we're about to see a 2v2. And I can't believe it. Wolfdog is going to pull off a 1v3
Wow.
and he's gonna take them down. Both Chuckaboo and Fermanagh, and I can't believe it, Harold. That is two clutches this melee tournament.
I'm speechless. I really am. I never thought I'd see somebody take on a 1v3 in tournament grounds and win.
And with a Warhammer, I mean, he wasn't using a good weapon. He was using a Warhammer, so you know that's.
In my mind, it looks like they maybe targeted Harrison.
Well, Peaky Dawn has just made the comment, and yeah, I think that might have been the case. Peaky Dawn and Harrison may have a little grudge to settle. Obviously, Harrison has been knocked out for the second time in this tournament. We're sad to see him go, but Callendale 2 has brought back Callendale into the tournament, so that's quite nice to see. And as we go into the second quarterfinal, we're going to see Drecki versus Aelin. And we know Drecki put forward a good team, and we know Aelin just upset Callendale's main team, so that's going to be quite the interesting fight.
So many good fighters here tonight. It's quite something when you have these tournaments, and you know the whole of Enarion is here to watch. You know, it's quite something. Being able to stand and watch your fellow countrymen and women fight in these tournaments. Absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, and as Aelin comes into the round, we're seeing an interesting strategy by Drecki. They're all sneaking, trying to conceal their names. I wonder what they've got going, what they're talking about in their comms.
It could be that they're hiding their names so that they don't get targeted.
And that would be quite the interesting strat, because we just saw Harrison was targeted by Peaky Dawn and Callendale 2, so maybe they've learned from that mistake.
I guess it's difficult to target when you don't know who you're fighting.
As the countdown begins, we're going to see Drecki move together. They're straight up the front, and Aelin will find themselves split apart, but Tharask is way in the back, and that's too much downtime of the fight. And you've got Kizu wheeling into the front. Blue Sensei has gone down. It's soon to follow Inhale, Malgonius and Swifty Sam, and we're going to see it. Drecki has been knocked out by Aelin. And this Aelin team is one to watch. I mean, they're a dark horse. They've come in completely unexpected and taken down Callendale's main team, and they've taken down Drecki's main team. That's quite the fight.
Quite an amazing thing to watch, actually. This could be quite an upset.
Yeah, I mean, Aelin has just come out of a defeat against Callendale in a major war, but I mean, they've beat Callendale's main team in the tournament. They've beat Drecki's main team, and quite possibly they could be going on to win the tournament. I wonder if that's a possibility right now.
Because the humans...
And I believe we're coming up to the final.
Excellent. Realistically, Callendale, have won the tournament before. have won the melee before. Maybe perhaps under a different name, perhaps a different people. But, the humans have won this tournament before. Now, Aelin, as far as I remember, have come close. I think they have won it once. This could be an upset. The cup could be going home with someone else tonight.
Well, we're about to see Callendale's second team and Aelin's main team go at it in the finals. This is for the championship of the melee bracket. And I don't know who I favour. I'm not entirely sure if the Callendale 2 team can rely on Wolf Dog to clutch the 1v3 again, but, the potential of that is quite strong indeed. I wonder if Aelin is going to adapt their strategy. They've gone for a full-on offensive approach. Every player 5-man are using axes, and Callendale 2 haven't changed their approach at all.
Wolf Dog with the Warhammer. Now, as you said, known to be not the greatest weapon, but highly effective as far as was seen before.
Most definitely, and you see this interesting tactic. The Aelin players are split up, whereas the Callendale 2 are bunched together. I wonder if we're gonna see if that actually is a strategy or just if it's a strategy or just by chance.
Dane,
Let's hear your thoughts.
Oh, I don't really want to make a call because after what we've seen today, it's just too unpredictable. There's been too many upsets.
And here you have Aelin moving together, and Callendale 2 are all on the play, tornadoes straight up the front, and you're finding that Callendale 2 is collapsing, and they have them in the corner, and
Wow.
Wolf Dog with the Warhammer is
Once
consistent,
again.
and he is consistently beating his opponents, and we're seeing a 3v2, and Callendale 2 is going to take the day.
Unbelievable. Wolf Dog's definitely my MVP for today's
Most definitely. And there we have Callendale winning both the melee and archery bracket of the tournament. Can anybody say they're surprised?
there have been some possible upsets along that journey, though. It's not been plain sailing as far as we know.
No, most definitely. There was a lot of good upsets. The Aelin team played their hearts out. They were a very well played team, and I'm honestly surprised that they came this far. But I think something to take from this is Callendale 1's main team. You can put forward a strong amount of players, but will that actually transform into anything? That begs the question.
Now, I'm guessing we'll move on to the skirmish.
The Skirmish of Steel is the next event. That is not going to be represented by any nations, just players are going to pick a status they want. They're going to team up with some friends, they're going to go at it, and they're going to come to the tournament grounds. And they just need to hold the tournament grounds by 30 minutes in. So that'll begin in exactly 10 minutes from now.
I think realistically, I think this year's tournament has been great. Some very, very, very good fights. Some good archery, some good melee. But I would also like to mention the amazing stalls we have this year. It's like everybody's come out to, see what's happening, see what's going on. And I think that's on the stream right now. Yes, it is. Very good. You can see there's a line as long as your arm trying to get into the animal petting zoo, as it looks like.
Yeah, and as an organizer, I can't thank the event team and the application team enough for their hard work. They pulled together a group of many events and many games for people who were just wanted to come and partake in the roleplay of the event, and they've been wonderful. They've had the dunk tank, petting zoo, a tavern, and even a raffle. So these have all been some nice little events for people to get themselves involved in. As you can see, it's quite favoured.
Now, obviously, Skirmish of Steel is a little bit, different this year, this tournament. So I guess my question is, do you know of any teams that are partaking this year as a team?
Well, I have an inclination that Callendale teams are going to fight together. They work well together, and they've fought together a lot in the past. I'm expecting Callendale to put forward the team.
Now,
But
another question I may have, just to move on from that. It says in the announcement that everybody's got to bring their own gear.
that's correct. Yeah, the Skirmish of Steel is a free for all. Everyone brings their own gear, and gear does not drop. So it's just a kind of fun little game to conclude the tournament. A sort of a tradition that we've adopted, and it's just so people who weren't actually partaking in the event itself can just have a little bit of fun PvP.
Now, my question is, I guess, realistically, are there any rules that people should be aware of within this skirmish? Can they start in the tournament grounds?
So the rules are that the teams have to begin around the tournament grounds within a decent distance, viewing distance preferably, and they'd have to hold the tournament grounds on the 20 minutes as soon as the PvP starts. They have 20 minutes. Whoever holds the tournament grounds in 20 minutes wins. So that has a lot of potential for people to have fights across the map. But the last 20 minutes, we need to see the reigning team, the victors, in the tournament grounds. And whoever is the last man standing, the last team standing in that tournament grounds, will win the Skirmish of Steel. And I think I'm correct. It looks like Callendale 1 may be putting together with Callendale 2. And obviously we have a lot of people making moves. We have frantically people moving around the tournament grounds, finding locations to start.
I think that's my call. If I was to be on a team, I would be starting as close to the tournament grounds as I could, but far away from anybody else that I could, unless I was in a blob of other like-minded statist folk.
Yes, I mean, I just hope that those partaking in the festivities don't find themselves caught up in the PvP. So I'm hoping that they can conclude their RP in the time that it takes to begin.
Yeah, I would imagine that an announcement will be made. Just to tell people that the PvP is about to start. To be honest with you, the safest place would probably be on the stands of the tournament grounds.
Yeah, well, if I was a team, I think I would actually use the tournament grounds as a defensive bastion. But, that's kind of boxing yourself in. That could lead to a lot of issues, but I'm more favoured towards starting inside.
Very true. But realistically, there'll be almost a free-for-all within the tournament grounds to begin with until someone manages to take it. The smart money, I guess, though, might be to start further away, because there's no limit on how far you can start away. And then come in at the end, closer to the timer, and then take out the team that's there.
Yeah, and if you bring yourself around the tournament grounds, you see small pockets of players moving to different points in the map. They're assembling in random and secret locations. So let's try not to give people's hiding spots away. But yeah, we're going to see a bunch of teams, try sneak in and maybe take the cap, without a fight, perhaps.
And on that note, Kyle and Harold, I'm going to leave you because I'm going to go join my team now.
Enjoy, Dane.
Thank you, Dane. It's been a
Thank you for
pleasure.
having me.
Hopefully, we can see you on the battlefield.
Yes, you will.
Sutton who, that's the man to look out for.
Yep. Wait.
And watch you go down to another player.
Yeah, most likely,
Chuckaboo,
Harold.
preferably.
Thank you.
Yes.
Right, well, thank you for having me, and goodbye.
Have a very nice night.
And you.
And there's Dane gone. An interesting midstream addition to the cast.
I'll be honest with you, I quite enjoyed having 3. It adds a different dynamic, I guess.
Yeah.
The two Scotsmen, though, taking up the lead. There's nothing wrong with that.
Of course. And could you name a better duo, really?
Probably, but I'm not going to.
Grandpa Scotland and young Scots boy himself.
I'd take offense at that name. But you know, if that's what gets you through the day, then I'll take it.
It does. And we're gonna find Chuckaboo. He's fighting for the heart status alongside Harrison. So we're finding that the melee team are aligning themselves together. So I wonder if we're going to see Sutton Who join that team.
I feel like we should just follow him. But I know that that's probably going to be a very short stream.
Yeah, we've got a lot of content to show. We don't want to see Sutton Who, drop and call it quits.
2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that having an aerial view of the tournament grounds may be the best bet. But you may have outlier fights that are excellent.
Well, I mean, I'll be following along in the PvP and I'll be making calls. So I'll be able to redirect the stream to the best location. So if our kind cameraman wants to be in standby to be randomly teleported to interesting fights, just, heads up. And we're going to find ourselves 5 minutes into the skirmish is still beginning, and unfortunately the line for the animals have not grown any shorter.
It's actually gotten bigger.
It's gotten bigger. So I wonder if we're going to see some casualties here.
If only they knew what sort of danger they were in.
I mean, anyone going to think about the poor animals here that are going to be under fire?
It's an interesting thing. I guess when the fighting does commence, people will run. You would hope they would run.
It looks like the Dreki and the Elves may be banding together. Well, I can't be certain.
That is an interesting lineup, I would guess.
We're seeing Mr. Rumpo himself, the owner, take participation in this. He's running under the name CSCD, and he's going to be running with appears to be Sudden Who and Chuckaboo and Harrison. So quite a small group of competent lads.
They might be one of the little groups that we should watch. I feel like they will probably make their way to the tournament grounds quickly, but perhaps not as quickly as we think.
Well, if you actually go up into the sky and get a nice aerial view of the tournament grounds, you'll see it's quite an interesting terrain. You've got a forded river and surrounded by mountains, so any approach should be pretty noticeable. You don't got a lot of flat ground to work with, so people should be edging their way in with bows and using potions and all sorts of gap closers.
I guess the next question I would have, in terms of rules, do they have to stand in the middle of the tournament grounds?
Yes. If you go to the middle of the tournament grounds, you'll see a cute little platform set up, and that is where they'll have to stand at the end of the 20 minutes.
Yes, a little bit shorter than last year's skirmish, but invariably more people here, as far as I'm aware.
Yes, well, the last skirmish took an hour and 15 minutes, and who has time for that? So we've
I definitely remember.
yeah, so we've shortened the span, and I think a lot of people enjoy that more because it will force people to cooperate and fight together, and
So
I think they'll enjoy that.
my question is, what is our countdown right now? Are we close to time?
We are 3 minutes to the 2 minutes to the skirmish of steel commencing. 2 minutes. That's the broadcast that's just gone out. And yes, I can confirm the lineup: Chuckaboo, Harrison, Tiga, Nordic God, and Rumpo. That is a very mighty lineup. I'm almost jealous that I could not participate. But here we go, Harold. We're seeing the elves with a strong rally. We're seeing the elves and the Dreki band together. And I think we may even see some elements of Fermana, if I'm not mistaken. But that's quite a strong lineup.
It's nice to see people being able to use their hard-earned gear. The amount of myth and the amount of, I think I do see some steel out there as well. Quite amazing, actually.
A lot of mithrils come out. You know, a lot of people don't use mithril because they're scared to lose it. But there's no stakes here. You know, it's a little bit of fun. So
That would, the system we have here on Fantasy Roleplay is an interesting one, I guess. Different levels of custom gear, hard-coded into the server. Now, does that change the PvP? Does that change how things work?
Most definitely, it changes the dynamic. It changes the structure. You'll find that potions break up fights and also allow people to engage in fights. Bows, the strength of bows, allow long-range counterplay to come into play, and I think that's it. The Skirmish of Steel is about to begin. We're just waiting for the broadcast, but it's hit the 35-minute mark.
Well, it's going to be an interesting one to say the least. Wow.
And here we go, it's begun, and we can see the elf team is banding together. They're moving west down the bridge, and I think they're stopped in their tracks. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing.
The interesting thing here, though, I think, is the communication between these groups is going to be very weird, because obviously you could just choose whatever status you want. Whereas with Nation Skirmish, you had, I guess, a little bit more cohesion. So,
well, yeah, I think we're seeing that come into play. Half of the elves are moving, half of them aren't. And I think they're about to run into Callendale's team, if I'm correct. And we're slowly seeing them edge across the Barwick Bridge. And they're moving up to the ruins of Barwick, and people are fleeing.
now,
And I think we're seeing it, if I'm correct. Callendale is on the other side of the bridge, the other side of the river. So they've done almost a reversal, and we see Charlemagne leading the front.
Oh gosh, Callendale don't know what's, and they're walking right past them.
I don't think the elves know exactly where Callendale are too.
They're walking right past them.
The elves have got their scent, and they're following them behind the bridge. I wonder if Callendale understand.
I'm watching Callendale, and I'm watching the elves. They just pass right by them in the ruins of Barwick.
Well, if you redirect yourself back to the river, you will find that Callendale has found itself cemented on the hill. The very base of the hill is the elves, and what is that? Is that some of the elves have found themselves lost their tournament grounds? So this may be quite a deciding factor if they get the flank on Callendale. But it's really got to see what the elves are up to.
To be honest with you, it looks like the Callendale forces have also very interestingly managed to split between.
Very jolly music playing right now.
So it looks like Callendale is on the way back to the tournament grounds.
Let me find my way. And it looks like Chuckaboo and Harrison and Rumpo and their team, the Hearts team, we'll call them, are moving up. They're sneaking. They've spotted Callendale. Callendale is moving swiftly across the bridge, and I think they're on the lookout for each other, but they're just running past each other. This is comedic. And there we go. Hearts and Callendale are engaged, and like rats, they scurry away. Ecam has found himself surrounded as well.
Do you think that some of these teams have made pacts together?
Yes, well, I think we just saw it for ourselves. Rikumaru and Rip Kayu are both different statuses, but they didn't bat an eyelid, and it looks like Rikumaru is playing solo. He's known for that. So I think, he's pinning Duper, and I think we're about to see Rumpo, the owner himself, go down to Rikumaru in his pursuit. And Riku is lethal with a bow. I mean, we know that well, but he's pinging Harrison, and he's got words for Harrison even after the fact. And I don't even want to watch what I'm about to say, but it looks like Harrison's end days are, and Harrison's down.
Rikumaru coming in with the biggest kills already
and defeating his opponent, and I don't know what to say. It looks like Rumpo's team is suffered a great defeat.
Oh, set up to fail, it sounds like. Gosh.
Indeed, and you made the quip that following Sutton Who, Nordic God, would have been a short stream, but you know.
Oh god.
Reality stares us in the face, and Callendale moves swiftly up the mountain. They want to pursue the kill and take home their hunt. And you see the infamous player Tom Shadow is holding the back.
The legend of Enarion, Tom Shadow.
The protagonist himself, he's declaring his sides today. And they find themselves over the mountain. I wonder what the elves are doing. I've lost sight of them.
Realistically, this is nice. A nice start to the tournament, to the skirmish. But I think most of the fighting we will see will be come the end. I think that's when we'll see the real clutch plays trying to get into the tournament grounds. But seeing those big players go down as fast as they did is a little bit of an upset.
Well, I don't know what Mr. Rumpo, the owner, has to say for himself, but you know.
Yeah, realistically, he took a big L today, and that's quite unfortunate.
But he's still alive, you know, and he's found himself weaseled way back into the corner, and Nordic God and Rumpo are pursuing a new player. Perhaps this is the game they've been looking for after all. Something easy for them to get their kill on. And they've dropped Dankan 1, which is very unfortunate.
I have taken upon me to become the Dane camera. Now, Dane, Sutton Who, has just managed to take down an opponent. So I eat my words. However, he did two-man somebody, so it's not as honourable as if he had done it.
And we're actually finding perhaps a betrayal in the Miz. Rikumaru has been attacked by Callendale's team. And where that friendship was once had, perhaps, you know, a rivalry is about to spark. Rikumaru has had his usefulness, and now it's ended, and they're looking to get him out of the field quickly. I would definitely justify that.
Now, I will say, if anybody would like a shout out on this stream, you must target the player Sutton Who. SUOTTONHOO. If you kill him...
Stream sponsored bounty.
Yep, if you kill him, you'll get a nice little shout out by all of us. Now, he's He is currently getting pinned down by arrow fire.
But he's making his escape, and
Now
I
he's
think
on
he's
the
gonna
screen
do
for
it.
everybody to see.
But pay attention, pay attention. Callendale is second team, as we know them to be, have actually split up, and they're forming a purple status. They're actually fighting the elves, so Callendale might be having a little bit of a civil war going on here. But they're finding common ground against the elves. They're common rivals, they're common opponents, and the elves are scurrying away. And there's Rikumaru, and Rikumaru finds himself chased by the entire elven team. I'm not entirely sure who I favour in that regard. Is Rikumaru being chased, or has he lured them into a trap? And I'm going to be honest, it looks like the elves want to do
unfortunate thing
them.
is you may need the full army to take down Rikumaru.
Well, the elves have bypassed him. They don't want anything to do with Rikumaru. I don't blame them. And it looks like the elves are moving north. That's an interesting strategy. And there's only
Question for
12
you.
minutes left until they have to be in the tournament grounds, so...
Question for you. Are you allowed to return to the skirmish?
No, you're not allowed to return to the skirmish. Once you die, you're out of the skirmish. So yeah, the broadcast has gone out, and there's 11 minutes left to hold the tournament grounds, and not a lot has actually been made. The teams have split off, and I'm not entirely sure where this is going. Okay. And I've lost sight of both teams here, Harold.
Unknown where they are right now.
I wonder if the stream has any sight on the tournament grounds. Let me find myself over to the calendar side.
I am on the tournament grounds, and it looks like that the animal petting zoo is still doing a roaring trade.
Amazing, and they're still able to do it through all the chaos and all the bloodshed. That's impeccable. And we're about to see a very interesting clash happen. I won't say much on the stream, but pay your attention to Vermi. And this might be interesting.
Oh yes, I can see what you're looking at. Yes,
yeah.
We won't mention it just quite yet, but it could be
but it looks like they've spotted each other. Callendale 1 and Callendale 2. They're showing their face, and they're out for blood. But it looks like Callendale 1 is playing it right. They're holding the mountainside, and I think they have the right strategy here. Let's see where the elves have shown their face, and the elves are nowhere to be seen. They're nowhere near the arena. I wonder what their strategy is.
Now that mountain is very interesting. It overlooks the tournament grounds.
Yeah.
A well-placed arrow, or 5, or 10, or 15, 20, could find a target.
Indeed, but I don't think they're going to find it quite an effective place to hold in the end. I mean, there's a lot of cover. The stands provide a natural defense. And it looks like Ninja Climb is pursuing Rep Caillou and Rikumaru, who have teamed up together again, and the elves have come back down the road and they're in full force, and I wonder if they're going to clash.
If anything, the person who would stand upon the pedestal inside the tournament grounds with a nice little shift, held down shift, hiding their name, may get away with this.
Indeed, yes. And we're finding Rikumaru and Rep Caillou are working together, but here comes Callendale 2 and they've spotted the elf rally and they want nothing to do with it, so they've backed off.
Now,
And the elves come bombing up.
Going back to Sutton Who Cam, our friend Dane. He's still alive.
Oh wow. Oh, and he's about to face against Peaky Dawn,
I don't imagine he'll be alive for long, but he's
but,
given it.
but it looks like Callendale 2 and the Hearts have teamed up against the Elves. What a crazy alliance. Made in the heat of the moment. And I saw Malenkov just got a kill. Nicely done. And the Elves are moving towards the tournament grounds. I wonder if they're about to face their ultimate rival. And you won't believe it, Harold, as the Elves move into the tournament grounds, the Callendale moves down from the hill and they're only 20 blocks away from each other. They're in a clash. The bows are being shot, potions are being made. We're about to see a full-on brawl. And I wonder if Callendale is hesitating on committing, but the Elves are quick, and I'm not entirely sure. The Elves are being hesitant. But Callendale, they show good team play, and
There is so much carnage here. This is the fight we wanted to see.
I'm not entirely sure who's going to come out victorious in the end. You've got Callendale pushing up the centre, but they're going down, and the Elves are finding their place, and Rikumaru has found himself thrust into the mix. He wants to get involved.
I will tell you that the animal petting store is still open.
It hasn't stopped.
It hasn't stopped.
I think we've found that Callendale has largely lost their numbers, but it looks like the Elves might have just blundered it as well. I think the Elves and Callendale let themselves get picked apart by the opposing teams.
Now, I saw a lot of what was, I guess, lava, but what we would call alchemist's fire on the ground. So one team was using that quite effectively, I would assume. Or
Yeah,
maybe
and
not so much.
it looks like Callendale and the Elves have killed their own teams in their brawl.
That might sort them in a bad position when the rest of the forces come into the tournament grounds. But as you said before, the tournament grounds are a good holding point. They're strong. You can keep people at bay. You maintain that choke point, or several choke points, unfortunately, throughout the tournament grounds. You could be on for a winner.
Yes, and it looks like Callendale 2 team are showing their face, they're pushing in, and the Elves are taking refuge. Rikumaru is finding himself pin-cushioned in the arena, and I can't believe it as Rikumaru and goes down, he nearly made it out. And Ninja Climb's done it, he's gotten out, I don't know what to say. By sheer luck, and some of the Elves have gotten bloodthirsty. Mylenkov is pushing alone, and Rumpel has found himself in the mix. Rumpel is now getting himself comboed by Tharask, the new blood, and saved only by Peaky Dawn's hand. That is impressive. And everybody knows Peaky Dawn is a skilled player. I wonder if Rumpel just found himself dispatched.
He's
He's still alive. He's still alive.
Is there a force out there right now on Enarion that could take on this force within the tournament grounds? That is my question. Now, only one status can win, only one team can win.
And it looks like some of Callendale's fighters are still up. A measly band of 4 men, but you've got Tom Shadow, and that's the protagonist, and that's all you need. And as Kaumunus makes his way around, he spots the Elves. The Elves are holding the ground. There's 4 minutes left.
Now, will they make an announcement at 3 minutes?
Well, I've just kindly given a notification, so I'm hoping that is the case. I wonder if the other teams are looking at the time, but it looks like the Elves are poised to take this at this rate.
Yeah, there are teams out there that are too far away, I would suggest, to get back in time.
And the Elves are finding themselves quite comfortable. I don't really see many teams setting up to push, but I wonder if there's going to be alliances made last minute. I can't believe it. I looked away from the tournament for 1 second. The Elves have fled. What is going on? The Elves have abandoned their position, and Callendale has re-entered from the side, and I think this is going to be the death of Callendale, if I'm being honest.
I think the Elves knew exactly what they were doing. They have baited Callendale into the tournament grounds.
But at the same time, Callendale has come out no man down, so
You'll notice that they are almost camping the grounds and baiting and letting people come in to be slaughtered at whim.
and we've got 2 minutes to go, and it looks like nobody is contesting the Elves just yet. And oh, the Elves are pushing out fast.
But they have a contingent still in the pit.
Indeed, and Pikidon has found himself hunted down like a dog.
Now this is the sort of communication and I guess leadership that we wanted to see from the teams, but some of the teams couldn't show it. Some of the teams were a little bit disorganized. But you can see here that these people do seem to be in communication with one another.
Well, the Elves have pushed out again. They're feeling themselves. They're confident, and at this rate, I think they're most likely poised to take the tournament in terms of the Skirmish of Steel. And the announcement has gone out. There's 1 more minute to go. Whoever holds the platform at the minute wins. If the teams charge, we'll see who remains last man standing. But you know, so long as they remain uncontested, they will be the winners of the Skirmish of Steel.
Definitely an interesting take on the Skirmish of Steel. Definitely a lot more chaotic.
Indeed, and I think as we're coming to a close, I wonder if any of the teams have any plans to push.
Tom Shadow is pushed in.
And the Callendale finds their team wrapped up in the end, and I don't know if there's any opponents left.
Or teams left that are big enough to take on the Elven Brigade.
And it looks like Team Luck, Team Green are going to take the Skirmish of Steel at this rate. And as the 55-minute mark hits, Team Luck is the sole holder of the tournament.
We'll wait for the final announcement.
Indeed, and I think we're just waiting for the announcement, but I think it's safe to say that the Team Green has won the Skirmish of Steel. Oh, Ninja Climb and Co have pushed in, and I don't think we're going to see much of a play being made here, but this is a last-ditch attempt. They're sorely outnumbered, and the Elves are finding... The Elves have found themselves the sole dominators of this tournament ground.
I did wonder when we would see a potion. Unfortunately, I think used incorrectly. Too far away.
And there goes the announcement. It looks like Team Green is the winner of the Skirmish of Steel. Unfortunately, no prize to be had, but what we can say is that, you know, I'm sure people had a little bit of fun getting some PvP out their system. Yep, that's fine. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for watching the stream and participating in our event.
No, thank you, Kyle, and thank you to Green for streaming and Fantasy Roleplay for being so great. We'll hopefully see you in the next tournament.
And if you enjoy what you like to see, the waitlist is on the forums, www.fansnet.rp or fantasyrp.net/apply. Very welcoming community. It's a thriving community, and we do a lot of events, a lot of community-based events, and we'd love to see you on the server.
Yep. Excellent. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.